Center. Right front. Right. Right surround. Back. Left surround. Left. Left front.
Within my last project, I explored a new way of creating design that I'd never tried before. This was creating motion graphic collected videos to montage, virtual reality and sound designing. I learnt new softwares such as VR Tilt Brush, various face scanning apps and After Effects. This was a huge change to my practice, but now I cannot imagine having no moving image involved. Ever since this transition, I have made a promise to myself that every project I learn 1 or 2 new computer softwares to expand my new skill set, and I wonder whether multisensory exploration can expand my practice further.
I am going to present the importance of multisensory experience involving all 5 senses within motion graphics and virtual reality. Binaural audio is what is used to create a complete and natural 3-dimensional sound field within virtual reality, where different audio signals are fed to each ear in order to create the perception of a full spherical sound field. And this has been developed and used since the 1970s, known as ambisonics. Multi-speaker locations, however, are used in installations to create a 360 sound field experience. I want to find out whether virtual reality and motion graphics expand the experience of design and result in immersion of the viewer more than traditional design in the forms of print and digital, and if one of them is more effective than the other. Did you notice the keyword multisensorial within my title? Now, what does this mean and how does this relate to design? And does it make the audience member feel more immersed? Physically, a man perceives his environment through his senses. Visually striking installations, vibrant screens, and engaging visual stimuli can make all the difference in the experience of a digital landscape or motion graphics. Therefore, including all 5 senses within a design piece is so much more powerful and memorable. Sight is the dominant human sense and works in parallel with memory. The eyes and the brain process visuals together, working back and forth to find meaning. Sound auditory memory is perhaps the easiest part of sensory memory to relate to. Sound has an incredible ability to enhance experiences.
When I look out across a sea of 100,000 people attending a concert, a gathering of connection, a gathering of people singing together, enjoying music together, I sometimes feel that the audience is not human. I sometimes feel that the audience is in fact a sea of telephones. See the colours all around.
To set a successful virtual landscape and motion graphic installation piece, the visuals and auditory stimulations must correspond together and make sense in the memory of this landscape from your schemata of the real world. This is how you can become truly immersed within a design piece and your perception can be altered. The role of soundscape design enhances the sense of presence in virtual reality and motion graphics and is discussed and tested. All sensory perceptions must be known and their impact must be studied for any design application, even if not all of them are stimulated. Therefore, this suggests that design installations and experiences do not necessarily need all 5 senses to create an immersive experience. Sometimes the lack of one or a couple can be just as powerful. A different type of multisensory experience, intricately designed to focus on the auditory and visual senses, is Adam Smith's and Marcus Lyle's staged visuals of the Chemical Brothers live tours. Trying to communicate emotion through graphics alone is difficult, as Adam Smith and Marcus Lyle state. Therefore, they create incredible examples of multisensorial experiences through live music, motion stage graphics, and complex lighting rigs that intricately blend within the complete sensory overload of being within a Chemical Brothers audience. They use dancers to create a sense of theatre within their works. They state it is a much better way of creating an emotional connection. There's a human reaction going on. It's not a traditional pop band, it's an audio-visual experience. This makes it possible to shift the attention of the subject from the real world to the virtual world. It's a complex and psychological shifting of the focus of attention we call presence, created by the electronic music, screens and lights. Many believe they get transported to a different place by this combination of the senses that is vital when immersing a viewer. It is very much a show led by the visuals and music, and Tom and Ed, the music minds behind the Chemical Brothers, are very comfortable with not being the sole focus. This then allowed Lyle and Smith to invent moving characters that personify the music and therefore make the whole experience more memorable. As specifically, strong motion graphic visuals can regiment alongside the audio that accompanies, similar to your favourite childhood movie and its sound design. The second example is a unique exhibition as quoted from reviews. 360 screen displays are screened by the Installation of Exhibition London, created in collaboration with SC Johnson and NGO Conservation International. The Blue Paradox is a beautifully but startling reminder of the impact of human behaviour on the environment. As quoted, "It is an immersive educational experience in partnership with the company's sustainable programmes to better inform people of the value of our ocean ecosystems, the harm plastics do to those ecosystems and what we can do to make a difference." The 360-degree projections taps into auditory and visual senses to give the viewer a graspable understanding of how more than 8 million tonnes of plastic pollution a year affects our marine life and food chains. Combining these two primary senses enhances memory due to the visual stimuli, especially colourful ones that act as a powerful information channel to the human cognitive system and plays a significant role in enhancing memory. And sound has an incredible ability to enhance experiences, so perhaps the lack of the other senses within the installation actually allows a person to focus on the main visual message that is being portrayed, compared to a more all senses out of body experience that virtual reality provides. Now moving on to incorporating further senses into design works. The final senses I'm going to be focusing on, working simultaneously with the other two past senses, are smell, touch and taste. Touch is the first sense that humans develop. It contains elements such as pressure, temperature, light, vibration and pain. Again, this is intricately tied to our memories to enhance immersive experiences, as it stimulates the hippocampus, as this is the area of the brain that is central to memory. Smell is a sense that innovators for decades have been trying to master within immersive journeys, as for example smell-o-vision that came about in the 1950s within theatres, where odours were released from under the seats. Unfortunately, this didn't work at the time, but it indicates how long we've tried to nail the role of smell in creating immersive events. Now we have 4D experiences worldwide, and multisensorial experiences being developed frequently that follow the same idea. Taste is an extremely important sense, as adults have between 2,000 and 8,000 taste buds each. Food experiences are some of our most potent memories, states John Allen, a scientist. A lot of installations and virtual reality experiences harness this by having food and drink components such as bars and cafes. This is a key part in creating a memorable, immersive event. Virtual reality is the forefront of the London-based studio Marshmallow Laser Feast. They blur the boundaries between physical and digital and do this by employing cutting-edge technology such as virtual reality, which they state, no other medium makes us question human experience. From researching into this company within their experimental pieces and conducting a Google Hangout interview with Ernst and Han Herzen, the visual and creative director of the studio, it became clear that they use a combination of all these senses within their works. He states, There is no other medium out there that will allow you to, as an artist, a very luxurious situation where you are giving your eyeballs, your ears, sometimes your nose, and any of your taste buds to an experimental piece, which is very interesting to an artist to imagine that you can drill someone's full attention. He states, virtual reality blocks everything else, making someone fully immersed in a single moment. So you cannot drift off into another world. You're extremely present. Presence brings the flow state, which probably enhances the immersion. So in that respect, orchestrating a sensory experience is probably one of the only ways you can create that suspension of disbelief, which therefore taps into the world beyond the limits of our senses. They focus on audio and visual senses together, almost tag teaming each other, then accompany the other senses. We often work and collaborate with composers, which means designing or composing a new piece of sound design for the specific piece, says Ernst. Most coming from the same theme, same concept, same process, that allow us to kind of marry those two mediums more innately, rather than being an afterthought. It's not really one following the other, it's progressing at the same time together. I think I prefer working with musicians and composers early on in the process to create a unique piece that is designed for the immersive world that we are building. He concludes, again following the same theme of Blue Paradox, virtual reality multisensory experiences can be used as an aid to explore and educate environmental and any other issues through an immersive design medium. Their colossal wave multi-location installation, he states, was about the Great Garbage Vortex in the Pacific Ocean. The concept is coming from a place where it is really difficult to care or even relate to something that is so large or so far. If we think about black holes, they can eat 168 suns. We don't even know a way to understand what the size of the sun is or how to relate to it, yet alone 168 of them. The Great Garbage Vortex is exactly the same. To understand our impact on the planet, we need to have a reference point to relate to those topics. The colossal wave was designed to create that emotional landscape for someone to come in and to build within their perception of the experience. As I've stated, there are 5 main senses that are known to be associated within the human experience. However, Ernst states in his talk, Invisible Becomes Visible, that humans actually have 33 senses opposed to 5. I was curious to ask him if there was any other senses he believes are important in creating a multisensory experience and whether he's explored these yet. We have one sense that tells our organs whether you are upside down or not. Can we create an experience playing with that? Or we consolidate touch into a single sense, as we have electrical frequencies where some of them are looking for sharp edges, some of them are looking for rough surfaces, some are looking for smoother. So how can you create something that is targeting a single one of them? And what happens when you combine that, when you connect this with the same sense that tells our organs what is upside down or not? So I guess what I'm most interested in is all those things coming together to form a feeling that changes and shifts. What happens then? This is just purely speculation right now. I think those are the starting points for those different senses that we are fully not tapping into yet. A virtual reality multisensorial experience that has been touring around the world within conventions and events is a company called Senscus. Those multisensory reality pods are equipped with programmable actuators for heat, wind, airflow, tremble, light and sound effects, whilst also combining with the virtual reality visuals and auditory stimuli. They create simulated realities enabling a range of real-life fantasy-based experiences that are simulated in exquisite detail with the body's 5 senses. The pods can conjure out-of-body experiences that induce euphoria and release memories from the past, therefore creating a fully immersive experience that questions human perception. Their experiences range from soothing natural experiences such as the beach or forest, to biometric breathing exercises, and then to fully interactive VR game applications. In addition to sensory stimulation devices, biometric sensors measure heart rate variability, skin conductance and respiration, which all get monitored so the experience can be heightened. Using artificial intelligence, Senscus can tailor the experience to suit the mood of the user through the biofeedback data mentioned before. They can offer many incredible design, VR, and AI solutions that offer a wide range of applications for mental health and well-being that I thought would be interesting to mention as a side route of discussion. In 2017, the National Geographic created a documentary following Dr. Meryl Kint, a psychologist, to treat PTSD and other phobias and anxieties. She believes that CBT is effective in reducing fear responses, but most patients relapse as it doesn't tap into the actual memory of the fear event. Therefore, multisensory SenseKiss virtual reality pods can disrupt this fear memory and prevent the return of the fear response, and can offer a promising therapy output. I'm now going to move on to the multisensory virtual reality experience that is more available to the public. Otherworld is based in London and includes pods similar to SenseKiss that have all the same sense tapping technology, and has an on-site bar to explore the taste sense to create a more memorable event and full immersion. The unique island retreat built within the virtual reality is a hub world for all third-party games and experiences. The virtual reality is based off natural landscapes, but changing the colours to a unique colour palette. I believe this is to enhance memory to the virtual landscape, and therefore results in immersion, as if you recognise the texture, colour, smell, or feeling of a virtual environment that is similar to the real world, you will have full immersion, as you are tapping into your schemata of the real world. This is just a theory, but I think it would make sense why so many companies and virtual reality landscapes follow the same environment design route. I conducted primary research from the Otherworld's Instagram and randomly chose participants from the comments of the posts that have clearly experienced the pods in the past. They state from my questions, it certainly makes some forms of design more immersive. There was an intuitive sense of location, suggesting an alert perception and understanding of the virtual environment. The extrasensory elements, Stanley states, enhanced the visuals and made them feel more real. Power says that the pod and the multisensory experience definitely makes it more immersive. You're in your own little world. I think having the extrasensory parts were essential. It definitely makes the whole experience better. Therefore, providing user evidence to my theory of increased multisensory experience results in immersion. Hyperreality is a design piece that is not virtual reality nor an installation, but is motion graphics design that gives the illusion of virtual reality experience. Merging the two, this is reverting back to using the two senses of visual and audio. However, it could be more effective due to this, as the concept piece created by Kaiichi Mitsuda provides an educational insight into the future, and could work similarly as the Blue Paradox installation piece, by portraying the important information in a simpler format, therefore increasing awareness and creating immersion by shock factor, as it mainly conveys how our physical and virtual realities are becoming increasingly intertwined, as this is a scary concept for us to wrap our head around. As he states that virtual reality, augmented reality, wearables and the internet are pointing to a world where technology will take every aspect of our lives. Hyperreality attempts to explore this exciting but dangerous trajectory. Now continuing to stay on the topic of the future, what would VR and motion graphics mean in the future of design? This reverts back to Ernst's interview. He states, virtual reality, especially, is more affordable, easier and accessible. This will be used for entertainment and also will have a more meaningful reason as to why we use it. Medical imaging is such an important one and will be an important field. Engineering, natural science, space exploration. It will be in our lives so profoundly that I don't think people will remember how life was before these devices. With multisensory experience, this is something we've been exploring forever. And VR is so specific to their design applications, immersive experiences, that will always be a place for the central flagship, fully research-driven, interesting experimental work. Prower states in my primary research that he would love to see where virtual reality could go from here. However, he does see problems with movement within the virtual reality pods. So possibly in the terms of this, motion graphics could be more logistically effective. Adrian Chiok, a scientist, states that we can't change the fact that we were born with 5 different types of taste receptors, or that there is a specific range of frequencies we can see and hear. But he believes that we can alter our perceptions through technology like this, such as multisensorial virtual reality. To round up both these points, I believe virtual reality play a huge part in the experience of immersion as well as motion graphics within viewing design, and to focus on multisensorial experience is therefore crucial. However, I think virtual reality is even more important than motion graphics. As film is fixed, so therefore in motion graphic installations they have a fixed soundtrack within a specific duration, which corresponds to the length of the visuals. Interactive virtual reality and multisensorial pods take data from the user and change the characteristics of the environment in real time according to the input of the user in comparison. Therefore, more adaptable in achieving immersion real time. Therefore, the viewer feels more immersed, as the feedback gives the user a realistic sensory feeling about the design space. A paper from the 1990s explains that virtual reality provides a human-like interaction to the experience. To support my statements. I conducted an experiment to test out in real time whether increased multisensory stimulation results in immersion. I got my participants to watch my projections on a wall when I gradually added more and more sensors to the experience. First it started with just audio and no projection, then the visuals, then touch through creepy crawly figurines accompanying the sea creatures within the visuals. Then smell. I sprayed them with a mixture of perfume and salt water. Temperature, I used a mini fan to correspond with the wind noises, following with a secondary touch sense of water being sprayed. Lastly, I used a torch to recreate the little lights in the projection visuals. This is a very under-budget experiment as I do not have a studio or expensive equipment, but it did create very interesting results, as the more sensors I increased, as did their rating of immersion out of 10, as my scattergraph shows. Therefore, providing evidence to my hypothesis, increased sensors equals increased immersion. How does multisensory motion graphics and virtual reality change the way we experience design? Well, from collecting all my research together, it's become very clear to me that multisensory experience does have scientifically an impact on the way that we take in information, such as the lights, feelings, sound, visuals and smells from an experience and how we store this information. Stimulating these senses therefore stimulates your brain's passageways and allows for a sharpened memory of the design event. From my primary research, being within a sensory pod allows an intuitive sense of location, therefore allowing the virtual reality experience to be even more realistic and immersive. Motion graphics give space for installation pieces to be created to immerse multiple viewers at once, and allows specific focus to audio-visual sensors, which I think also not having all the senses explored does allow for a more thought-provoking experience of the specific messages the installation is trying to communicate. There is still so far to come in both these worlds, with technology advancing at such a fast rate. And I wonder where the exploration into the design of the sensors will go and whether your other 28 sensors can be tapped into. I think exploring this topic has allowed my love for these immersive mediums to grow, and my curiosity will be prominent within my future work. I want to incorporate the multisensory experience into my projects for this year, and possibly go into a field of work in the future that allows me to go alongside these ever-developing areas of design. As the news within the past couple of days has shown, virtual reality is developing specifically at such a scary rate.
The metaverse, for example, in the broader sense, may not only refer to virtual worlds operated by social companies, but the entire spectrum of augmented reality within the form of social media. These mediums are not only in the area of design, which is what this presentation has explored, it is the future of the internet. In fact, the belief is that the metaverse is what it could be to VR, what the modern smartphone is to the clunky first mobile phones of the 1980s. Isn't that scary stuff?